we'll
We're
wait
dark.
till we
There
get
we
a
go.
few people on. Ooh, I look like I'm still half asleep. My voice is
Did
like
you
I haven't
sleep
talked.
last night?
I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning.
Oh,
Why did I wake up so early? I have
don't know.
no idea.
Have you been getting up that early the last few days to get ready for the retreat?
No, I haven't, so I don't know.
I think everybody else is sleeping today too.
I think.
Nobody's there. Knock, knock.
There's
Anybody home?
Nadine. Hi, Nadine. We've got a couple on now.
Maybe they're all sleepy too.
Yeah, well, we didn't post that we were going to come on and do this. So anyway, we'll post this and then we'll tell them once we do it.
I can write in the post what's going on, and I forgot to mention in yesterday's post when the next solo, and it will be next week. So I'll put that in this new one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we are up to 25
Carolyn
people. Hi, Carolyn. Okay, so we did our block yesterday for the sew along. And you know how we started first and we realized that we had to do it before the store opened?
Yes.
Because we didn't, we're learning as we go.
We certainly are.
So we learned one lesson. And then our lesson yesterday was make a block before the class.
A test block before the class.
And check the pattern to see if there's any corrections. Because there was a correction to this pattern and we didn't think to look for it.
Yeah.
So we're learning a lot as we go along. This is our first sew along. It's certainly not going to be our last as long as you guys stick with us.
The problem is you guys have got to put up with our learning curve.
Yeah, that's the problem. Anyway, we promise you at the end of this, there will be a nice quilt.
There will be.
It's really cute. But from now on, we will have the block made before the class just to make sure that there are no mistakes in the pattern. Mistakes happen in patterns. I mean, I don't write patterns for a reason. People say,
you're right.
Can I have your pattern? It's like, no, I'm not writing that down because it's not an easy job writing it down.
No,
so good morning, Barbara. I was awake at 6 o'clock this morning, Barbara. Why is that? How late did you sleep in? She was at the retreat.
Oh, was she? Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, so we have the correction to the pattern. Twyla went home and made up a sample block to show you guys, and we have some final block final block measurements that so many of you wanted, and we will have the final block measurements of every block that we do from here on in. Everybody,
we will.
Okay, so this is an addition to yesterday's video.
So we're just going to point out a couple things. So yesterday, if you read my post after we posted the video, the reason that our block didn't have the correct overhang on the edge of the roof when we got it done was that the first thing you need to know is that these two roof squares up here at the top
are rectangles, not squares.
They're rectangles, not squares. They're 3.5 by 4. So you have to be very careful when you put on your corner triangle that you have the 4-inch going across this way. And then if you have it that way, not like we had it yesterday with it going up and down, you will actually get your overhang here that you need to look like the eaves on the roof or whatever. So that's the first thing. So then yesterday, I noticed a lot of people were posting, and since I was here working, I didn't have time to really investigate, but that they were having issues even after they did that correction, that these white pieces on the side were too big. So when I got home, I grabbed some scraps and I thought, I'm going to try this and see. And sure enough, it was too big. So then I thought, I'm going to Google corrections to this pattern and just see. Sure enough, a blog post came up and the pattern had called for these edge strips right down here, these two narrow ones, not this big long one that goes the whole length, but these two narrow ones right here.
Can you hold it with you?
Yeah. Those two should not be 1.5 inches by 8.5. They should be 1 inch by 8.5. And if you cut them at the 1 inch, it works out fine that when you attach them, the edge of your roof lines up down with that seam of the white right there. And then your final piece you add on is supposed to be 1.5 inches by 11.5. So your final block measurement for this piece is 8.5 across by 11.5 down. And if you follow these corrections that we've just told you about, you will get that. Just along the way, if you want to check your block, if you're just doing the pink part of the house, the width of that should be 6.5 inches before anything sewn on the edges, because that's what this actual piece is cut, is 6.5 inches. Your navy, or my navy roof, or your roof piece, before you attach any white to the edge, should be 7.5 inches across. Okay, so I hope that helps. So the two corrections are, make sure you have these going rectangularly the lengthways this way before you add your corners, and to cut these two strips 1 inch by 8.5 instead of 1.5 by 8.5.
So we'll go in yesterday's and make that
I'm going to go
correction.
in and make that correction in yesterday's. Okay?
All right,
And
everybody.
next sew along will be next Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock, and we will have done a test block before we work our way through this.
Yes.
See what other trouble we can get in next week.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks guys.
So I hope none of you guys are discouraged with our learning curve. And we thank you for watching. And we've heard from quite a few people saying that this has gotten them back into the groove and they're really enjoying it. So it's going to be worthwhile. Stick around and we'll learn as we go.
But the other thing that you learn from this, or you can take away from this, is it doesn't matter how long you've quilted or what you've done.
I know.
There's always mistakes. There's always things you can learn, whatever.
Yep. And not to get stressed over it. Just go with the flow.
Exactly.
It's only fabric.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.